January 2019. I spent another long night playing Twisted Wizard Deluxe at Rowley's house today. His mom was out volunteering at the airlift drop-off location, delivering food to people's houses, and his dad had work to do in another town, building another SCF. I admit, I feel kind of jealous of him. Even though it's been 11 months since the bombings, we're still not allowed to leave our country. I just realized it's been like 4 months since I wrote in this. I haven't been busy or anything. I just didn't remember to. Anyway, the night with Rowley was fun, and we played until 11 p.m, which was a first for Rowley. We went over to my house afterwards and stayed there for a bit. That's when Mom got home, and she wasn't alone. It took me a while to recognize her, but then I realized it was the girl Rowley and I ran into in the woods. I asked Mom what she was doing here. Apparently, while working at the SCF, she saw this girl trying to escape with her family. She tried to help them, but the army captured her dad and brother. Thankfully, they didn't notice Mom or the girl. Mom sat down for a while, explained the situation to me, and eventually went upstairs to sleep, saying she had a long day tomorrow. The girl and I got to talking, and it turns out her name is Chloe. She's a freshman like me, and she was visiting her uncle in Kingsville where the bomb exploded and destroyed her home. After that, she came to the SCF with her dad and brother. Chloe Davidson. I didn't really know what to do with Chloe, given that I had never had a girl my age at my house before, unless you count my failed seduction of Hannah Shang from my world history class in 8th grade. I don't even know if I said the last name right. I wondered what girls like to do. I know they love going to the bathroom in big pairs, and from what TV has taught me, having pillow fights with other girls, but neither of those options really were ideal for me and Chloe. I eventually decided just to treat her as a boy, and I asked her if she wanted to play Twisted Wizard, and to my surprise, she said yes. I didn't know girls are into that kind of stuff. Maybe I should make note of this when I look for someone to marry. Me and Chloe stayed up late together, playing Twisted Wizard, while I told her all about my life, and she told me about her family. I went to bed late, but I couldn't stop thinking about her. Maybe I'd never seen a girl play Twisted Wizard before, and I was shocked by it. Yes, that's what it is, probably. I've also been feeling a bit worried about Rodrick. He used to send letters twice a week, and now we haven't gotten any in a month. Apparently the US Army is about to reach the Uzbek capital, and Rodrick's busy with fighting. Still, I really hope he's okay and gets back fine. I miss him, which is something I never thought I'd say. April 30th, 2019. It's been an eventful day. I'd been hanging out with Chloe, Rowley, and Shirag all day, playing this weird new video game. Although, I don't think Rowley understood the point of the game. Joshi Fan 57 was not the imposter. Whatever, Rowley. It was getting late, but then we heard crashes and screams from outside the window. At first I figured Bryce was hosting his yearly block party again, but then we noticed an orange glow from outside the window. We looked out onto the street, and the only thing we saw was chaos. People, most of them kids, but some adults too, were running around on the street. A few houses were burning, cars were being stolen and driven into crowds. People were attacking each other. Some were participating, some were watching, and some were laughing and partying like the world was ending. I told Shirag, Chloe, and Rowley to get down to the basement to keep themselves safe. I went outside for a bit just to get a better idea of what was going on. I could have been killed, but I just had to make sense of this. That's when I saw someone familiar. Mingos. I guess the rumors about refugees joining them were true. It looked like a lot of the rioters had just escaped from SCF too. I guess Mom was right about the rebellion. Aroo! One of the Mingos, who looked like he was one of their military leaders, sounded a trumpet. All the Mingos and refugees began charging towards the houses on the other side of the street. I saw a few heading towards our house, but I thought quickly and told them that I had already looted it and there was nothing there. It's impossible to describe what was going on in words, so here's a drawing. By the time it was over, the refugees and Mingos had ran back into the woods. Dozens of houses were burning, including Rowley's. Thankfully, Rowley's parents had made it out alright, but they had nowhere to live now. By the time Mom got home, only about half of the neighborhood was still standing. She said it was fine if Raleigh and his parents came to live with us, and all I have to say is, thank goodness Fregley's house is fine. I thought the night was over in terms of events, when the police and National Guard came by to clean up the neighborhood and record the damage. But then, there came a knock at the door. There was a guy in military uniform standing there, and what he said made my heart skip a beat. I have bad news about Private Rodrick Heffley. Rodrick developed a stomach infection while in Uzbekistan, so unfortunately, he will be unable to fight. He has therefore been dismissed from the army. And sure enough, there he was. I never thought I'd be happy to see Rodrick again, but Mom and I were overjoyed. Weirdly enough, Manny seemed kind of disappointed. Anyway, as soon as the military man left, Rodrick told us that he had somehow faked a stomach infection and pretended to have a mental breakdown. I wanted to ask him more, but first he had something he wanted to ask me. Who's your girlfriend? After that incident, Rodrick ate some dinner with us and said he wanted to talk to me alone. I reminded me of the night before he left, all those months ago. I told him a bit about how Raleigh's house was destroyed and that Raleigh was living with us. But then he started talking. Apparently he didn't want Mom to hear this, but his mental breakdown had been real. And Bill, his band singer, was killed by an IED in Uzbekistan that had been there since the Cold War. Wait, what's an IED? Rodrick, I don't know if it's a soldier or like a weapon or something. Rodrick said he had to get out of there as quick as he could. And now that he has a new perspective of life. I'm going to continue with Loaded Diaper, but I'm going to use my fame to help people. You know how you always say you want to be rich and famous? That's what you should do if that happens. It's the first time I'd ever heard Rodrick being completely serious. But after that, he made fun of my girlfriend and went upstairs. As I'm writing this, I realized something else. My mom got me this journal to write my feelings in it. I said I wouldn't because I thought that was kind of dumb. But now, I'm realizing that I do write my feelings in it. And that I have for a while. And to be honest, it's kind of nice. October 23rd, 2019. It's been months since I wrote in this thing. And to be honest, life hasn't been too bad. We sort of settled into the new normal of the atomic age, and every day there's better and better news. All bomb cities have been mostly cleared of dangerous amounts of radiation. Reconstruction will start by December and cities will begin repopulation in 2021. Riley and I started 10th grade and we enrolled Chloe under a fake name. School was actually pretty fun, and Chloe and I started an esports club. Although only Riley joined, I thought Shirag would join as well. But then I realized I hadn't seen him since school started. Little did I know what I would be in for later that day. It all started when I went outside with Riley and Chloe for lunch. I saw an army bus pass by, headed for the SCF, and inside, I swear I could see Shirag. Greg, Gregory, wait, no! I think Riley saw him too, because we both started running to the main office with Chloe. We told the woman at the desk that one of their students was on an army truck. Apparently she already knew about it. According to her, Shirag and several other students were on a list of families with suspected connections to terrorism. That has to be racist. Well, when I looked at the list of students who hadn't been in school, it didn't take long to figure out what they meant by suspecting connections to terrorism. Shirag Gupta, Mohammed F, Fawaz A, Walid C, Ajit C. It was obvious that the army was just rounding up kids who seemed vaguely Middle Eastern or Indian. Maybe this is that racial profiling that my English teacher was always talking about. Well, we couldn't stay at school after that, so the three of us ran home. Mom was there and we told her what happened. She said she had just found out too that the SCF was being used as a detention center for opponents of the United States of America. She gathered us all in the kitchen and told us she had a plan. She said that she had heard about Shirag and was planning a way to break out the refugees and the political prisoners from the SCF. The plan was for me to pose as a refugee and enter the SCF with Mom. From there, I'd use the secret code Mom gave me to unlock the doors to the holding cells that the prisoners and refugees were held in. Then, we'd all escape and try to hold the army back. I never thought I'd be going to this trouble to save Shirag of all people, but I guess it's about something more that myself. Rodrick, Rowley, Chloe, Mr. and Mrs. Jefferson, and I agreed to do it. The plan is set for tomorrow. If something goes wrong, I guess you'll never know from this. Monday. It's been a few days since the raid, and oh boy, do I have a lot to talk about. First things first, I joined the incoming arrival at the SCF and pretended to be a refugee. I was pretty nervous when I walked by the guards, but they didn't seem to notice me. Once I was inside, they led us all to a cell and locked us in. I didn't know how long they had kept some of these people in here, but it looked like it had been weeks for some of them. I figured there would be individual cells, but they didn't even allow them that level of privacy. There was one thing I didn't know, however. The code for the lock. When nobody was looking, I punched it into the keypad and opened the door. All heck kind of broke loose after that. One of the refugees saw the door was left open and started running, followed by a stampede. They fought the guards quickly and overpowered them. Running out of the building, I was caught up looking for Chirag, so I got left behind. Before I knew it, there were guards swarming through the building, and I was in the residential section for the soldiers. I tried sneaking around, but then I heard something behind me. It looked like a guard and he had noticed me. Before I could say anything, he shot his gun and I felt a burn on my shoulder. I looked down and saw that my diary was covered in blood. I thought for sure I was a goner, as he pointed his gun at my head again. I was waiting for the soldier to shoot. When I realized that I should have died, I wondered what was taking him so long. So I opened my eyes and looked. He had put down his gun and looked like he was trembling. He tried to raise it one more time, but put the gun down again. He nodded toward the door, and I didn't waste a second in running outside. It turned out that outside wasn't much better, having turned into a massive war zone. Prisoners were rioting and beating police and soldiers. I saw a lot of dead people from both sides on the ground. I looked around for Mom, Rowley, or Chloe, but I couldn't see them. I kept looking though, and I did see one familiar face. This is for my father. Shrug's father was lying in a pool of his own blood. Shrug was pointing a soldier's gun at a soldier who was begging Shrug to spare him. The soldier had done nothing good these past 3 months, or had they? Either way, I knew what I had to do next. Shrug, I know what it's like to lose a father, but it won't change anything, man. I told him about Dad, about how Rodrick went to Asia to try to get revenge, but only lost his friends. I told him about all the recent violence and asked him who that helped. Finally, he listened. Then, I heard a shot and everything went black. Greg, no! March 2022. It's been almost 4 years since the bombings. Quite possibly the strangest years in recent history. I'm a senior in high school now, and as I look out at the world, I'm happy to see it settle back into a regular rhythm of life. Rodrick reformed Loaded Diaper with some old band members, and they still suck. Every song they play, though, is dedicated to the members they lost in Tajikistan. School is back in session, and the SCF is gone. A revolt made the national news, and once President Cruz launched an investigation into the conditions at the SCF, the program was abolished. Either way, the news says that the bombed cities have mostly been cleared of radiation and that rebuilding has started. By the fall, most refugees will be moving back. That means Chloe's going to be leaving too. I'll miss her, but I guess she and her family should probably be in KINNEY City, where they belong. I still remember her taking care of me after a guard shot me during the revolt. We'll see each other again, I'm sure. Of course, even with all this reconstruction, it's hard to forget who we lost. Chirag and his mother are still mourning Chirag's father, as I am still mourning mine years later. Still, I hope I made him proud. I even still think about Bryce and all the other kids who died such senseless deaths. All we can do now is do better and make sure the same mistakes aren't made. This period has shown me the ugly side of the world. Rodrick tried to fix it in battle. I'll make the world a better place too, but not now, and not like Rodrick did. One day, I'll be the one calling the shots, and this country will prosper. Until then, though, I'm stuck in Plainview, looking forward to a better world. Reproduced with permission by the Gregory Heffley Presidential Library and Museum. Copyright 2077. The end. Wow, that was a good story, guys. Got that.